120. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Welcome to the 120 episode of DevKami, and I have Cheetah.
And I am Tristan.
And I'm Swimming, and we have Gui today. And so, how's everybody?
Still alive?
Yeah. I just booted ESXi on my Think Center M720. Apparently, it recognized. Apparently, it's a Lenovo Think Center, so apparently it recognized that's a Lenovo product. So that's good. Then I'll try to see what I can do with ESXi over the weekend.
Okay. Then I still had to hack this guy. Raspberry Pi
Pico.
Yeah. I test some of the Python code. Pretty interesting. I read a lot about PIO, the programmable I/O. Very interesting as well. Essentially, what you do is you have a series of assembly-like command to move around registers, and MicroPython support it. Then publish a MicroPython library for it, which is actually very awesome. And you have to actually use that several step and all that. I don't have a good use for it. I have good reason to use. I don't have good reason to use it, but if you have LED metrics and all that, it's awesome. But I was trying to hook this to the PM sensor that we have. But the connector is so compatible, so that's the little problem. That's how we do it. So that's the interest on the tech side. So anybody have some interesting update?
I have this. Nothing.
Believe it or not, that is actually technology a few million years ago. When Homo.
Yeah, look at that. Look at this machinery. Wow. Yes. Look at the smoothness.
No, you should do like this. See, I have a thumb. I evolved the thumb.
It's well calibrated.
Yes. And this is how human make tools, by the way.
Okay.
So let's start with our meetups.
Hey, we didn't ask Kui for anything.
We will have a lot of Kui later.
Okay.
Are we? Do we?
Yeah, okay, sure.
We will do that. So let's start with meetups. We have nothing next week.
Somehow the only meetup that persists over the lockdown is Ruby. Kudos.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Good. We have a special guest this coming meetup, right? Well, this is next month though. So you can talk about it because you're hosting it as well.
Yeah. Correct.
Okay. So next month we have Vonage. Will be giving talk. So they are one of the services that do SMS and calls. So you can do it as a service. So they will be giving a talk on sentiment analysis with Ruby, which is good, about data science stuff. On Ruby.
Yeah. Cool. So if people think that Python's hogging all of the limelight on data science, well, they're both in the same situation as Ruby, that they're just depending on libraries written in C and C++. So there technically shouldn't be any special treatment on Python in your mind, because Ruby should be able to do that as well. You just need the libraries in that case.
Yeah, you need the produce library. The only reason Python has gone so far is simply because the science guys have been using this tool, using Python since the 90s. So you're gonna take your plus head start, and that's about it. That's really
it's mainly the SciPy that started.
Yeah, correct. So in fact, the week after next week is Chinese New Year, and I think the day before Chinese New Year is on a Thursday, I believe. Is it?
Yeah.
Which is coming day again, because I actually do celebrate Chinese New Year. I will make an announcement soon, whether we do it or not.
Sure.
Yes. So that's about events next week. The week after next week should have DevOps meetup. So that's another thing.
Yeah.
I heard they're going to have a data session on Clubhouse. So that's what I heard.
Oh, we're planning. You're in the Discord channel as well. We are planning to have a Discord data as well. Just need somebody to call for it.
Cool. As long it's not on Clubhouse, that's fine because I don't actually own any island.
You know, yeah, Clubhouse is for the old people, right? So we kids go to Discord.
Yes. So let's move on. The next one is we have a competition by Nordic. Nordic have been very active among the Baker community. So this is an advanced wearable competition. You get some hardware prices and all that.
No. You have you can apply for hardware. You don't get hardware prizes. Basically, you apply for hardware, you get them, and then you join the contest using the hardware, the free hardware that you get.
Okay. Cool.
So you have like two choices. You can get the development board, the NRF 5340 development board. So that's dual core. I forgot, like M4. I don't remember the stats. The dongle, basically, it's like it's for like debugging Bluetooth low energy signals, so it's a dongle that communicates with your computer, so you can debug those things, and either the power profiler, so you can measure with accuracy how much energy your device is using, because it's a wearable. You need to be reserving energy, or you have a screen instead of the power profiler, so that if you scroll up a bit, then you'll see that it's a LCD screen. Display or something. So for those particular, so for the other challenge, which is like something that's not the, well, if you go up to challenge A, then I can read whatever the challenge is. Yeah, the Dream Smart Wearable. So this one is not focused so much on the battery performance. The challenge B is more focused on battery performance. That's why you have your power profiler. So this is medical wearables would be something like glucose monitoring, for example, which like only turns up every once in a while, and so it sleeps the rest of the time, and that's why we want to measure like how much energy it's using.
So so this is actually interesting. If you want to try it, disclaimer: I never tried it. One day I will. I promise myself.
Go ahead. February 25. I think the last day for applying for hardware is February 25. But the contest runs, I think you can submit for, like, if you already have the kit, right? Because some people already have these things and you don't need hardware, then you can submit, I think, until March. Yeah, March 18th. This is a webinar for the kickoff of the thing. But the prizes will be $2,000 for the grand prize, which is not a small amount of money.
Yes, I would get a PS5. Okay, let's move. So, as usual,
if it's your hobby, then might as well make money out of it, right?
Yeah.
This is like this is the hackathon of the electronics world. Correct. If you're going a lot into the hackathons, well, this one has a lot better like set of things going on for it, because you get free hardware that you can actually start hacking on. And so maybe in software hackathons, basically you get food and venue and those things, but this you actually get like stuff, so it's nice.
So if you're interested in joining, if you want the links, go to devkami.com. I'll see the latest episode. We will leave it. We will actually have a link here. So let's move on. The next one is, I'm going to keep it short. There's no support. There's no plan to support PWA. Good. PWA should die. Anything else? I thought we move on. Okay, so Robinhood have been review bomb. This is actually yet another drama.
I actually muted myself. Why do you think PWA should die?
It's a Google only thing, right?
Yeah. No, I think they only disable the desktop. It's still okay with mobile.
Okay.
They only disable on desktop Firefox.
Right.
I hate it because it got abused by all the unnecessary.
Yes.
No, I really can't blame it, but I really don't like putting too much feature on the website.
Yeah.
Sorry, unfortunately.
Yes. So let's continue with the game with the Robinhood thing. It's actually part of the drama because it's actually block purchases of Tesla. So yeah, let's move on because that thing we can do video. So Google launches another VM manager. So it launched a VM manager to manage infrastructure. So so this is actually to help manage their Google Compute Engine VM and all that. So yeah, yet another
So
tool.
who's managing the VM manager?
Apparently, it's called the sysadmin.
Oh,
So
yeah.
so
This is
Google, yeah, Chrome 89 beta, hardware interaction, web sharing on desktop and more. So tell me, what is this about? Anybody know?
I don't know.
I thought I don't understand the HID part, but and either way, it's very interesting in a way that
HID is normally controls, right? Like keyboard and mouse and things,
yes,
right?
precisely. So your mouse or gamepad, those are HID devices.
Oh, I guess support
Makes
gamepad
sense.
and things,
Yeah,
right?
for gamepad it makes sense because keyboard and mouse is well supported. In some way, so it's touchscreen. It may not be native, but it's there. But gamepad would be gamepad will make a lot of sense. So that's
Yeah.
they actually
So
say that.
the problem with gamepads, for example, is it because there's no way to say this is a gamepad. It emulates
Yeah,
keyboard support, like the
correct.
basically the arrow keys, right? But it's not an
Yeah,
arrow key because, for example, you can uh, like if it's an analog gamepad
yeah,
with direction, then maybe maybe they will emulate a mouse, but it's not a mouse even. So that's the thing. That's what they're trying to fix.
correct. So they get the keyboard backlight, the
Mm.
game controllers.
Yeah. Support the RGB lighting.
Yes.
Very
Then
important these days.
yes. So the next one is Web NFC. But unfortunately, it's not for. I don't think it's for payment because a lot of this depends on hardware availability.
No.
But for capability, it'd be interesting as a capability.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's for proximity basically.
yes,
Like
precisely.
it's changing your behavior based on proximity.
Yes. So the next one is Serial API. This is only for serial for let's say you want to work on microcontrollers and all that.
Well,
So
not just well, microcontrollers is one thing, but a lot of devices like po- uh, point of sale machines are on serial. A lot of
Your
debugging stuff as well is on serial.
your
So there are
phone.
a lot more things. Yeah, almost everything like communication is actually like will have a sideband which is on serial. And
right.
usually instead like in or because we don't have serial ports anymore on our
Yeah,
computers, we
yeah,
need to get a USB to serial adapter.
correct,
But
correct.
like computers back then actually had a serial port, and you have a
Yes,
parallel port if you remember that. And
I
this
remember
one
that.
just like make sure that there's an API you can access it, not through just like your code,
So
but through
so
actually
your browser
the
so your browser can be your operating system.
mm. That's I think that's what Google wants to happen, right? Instead of
Chromebook.
their Chrome OS.
Yes, correct. We're also interested because Google officially now have 3 OS initiative, Fuchsia and
Oh,
Cloud.
they always have a competition for they always compete amongst themselves.
Okay,
The joke was that they've never had competitors beside themselves.
right.
Yeah.
So web sharing on desktop will be interesting, but it's only available for Windows and Chrome OS. So that's interesting as well. But I'm on Linux, so that's that. So quite a number of things. Visit our website and you'll see the links here lah. Then let's move on. Okay, so this is actually a bit of big deal because of the payment thing for the news agencies. As a result, Google actually tried to exit Australia, and Microsoft are willing to go in. So yeah, and you may think that it will happen in China. Not true. This actually happened in Australia. We have in Australia, so let's see how that happens soon lah. It will be interesting if Australia don't get Google. So let's move on. Slack outage report is out. If you're interested, you can join. I don't remember the reason. I didn't read the reason for it, but is it? I don't know what. Do you actually read this report yet?
Yeah.
No. If you're interested, don't read it. This thing is always interesting to know, and how things break for big system and all that. F#. This post here is actually what is F#, what's the community like, and what is available, what you can do with it. F# is a functional language originated on the .NET platform.
Which is based on OCaml.
OCaml.
It's a cousin of OCaml.
Yes, and OCaml is one of those languages that you kids never heard of. It's functional and all that. Very interesting, actually. So
the next version of OCaml is actually new camel.
I thought this is called Perl.
The highlight is not just on .NET lah. So they have a transpiling to even Python, to Ruby, and to JavaScript.
Alright. Interesting computer science was on F# as well. So, for example, the quantum computing tools from Microsoft actually had the SDK design based on F#. So, just so you know, very good stuff. The US Digital Service hide an Easter egg in the White House website. So,
it's a comment at the header.
Correct, it's a comment. So nothing special, but the US Digital Service have been one of the pioneers. Another one is actually the UK Digital Service. I meet some of them in my NGO days. So in my NGO days, I actually have a privilege to meet some of these folks.
Actually on or off based on the administrator.
Correct.
So
you will actually hear story about the war stories, and what's the policy like, and why some bureaucrat may not like them to stop it to work, etc. So you may heard a lot of this story from, let's say, Singapore GovTech. They work very differently. And also have very different challenges. But BSDS is very interesting organization. So let's move on. Google shut down Stadia Games Development Studio. I hope Steam will buy that technology, but I'm crazy. I don't think that's happening. Would be interesting though. So anything to add? If not, I move on. Let's move on. Happy birthday, Videoland. So VLAN is one of my favorite video player. 20 years old, amazing.
It's the only video player I use.
Yes.
That support all the format that I am consuming, and also it's open source.
That's why people use VLC player. So it was released open source. It's not on Windows, and we thought on Windows is easy. No, it's not as easy.
I'm using it on the Android TV as well.
Correct. Actually, Async is the easier video player, which I have my source of video, which I watch on the TV. So, and also it's one of the easiest way for you to do video streaming.
Yep.
So to share video across and all that. Not that say you should, I'm saying you can, etc., etc., etc. So let's move on. So thank you, VLC. Happy 20th birthday. So let's move on. Go please. Is it Go please? So
Go please.
DS Go extension now have this available by default. What is this, sir?
Go please was Go please is the language server which do the auto completion and things like auto import and auto complete.
Yeah. So it seems to be like a standard, right? Like the language server standard, so that other IDEs can ask it instead of baking in support but one by one for each editor. They can just have a binding to the language server and then just as the abstract away the auto completion.
Yep, that's the reason why you have that, right?
Previously, it was several tools, but Go please is supposed to be. You can say it is now stable because it's been around for quite a while, but it's a redevelopment. So but now it's officially replaced to be the language server for Go.
Yeah. And second last one, so Pip now drops support for Python 2.
Yeah, right above time.
Yes. So we should actually add that in the funeral
You
class.
shouldn't even you shouldn't even use it anymore.
Yeah, correct. Because so now they're 1 on 2.7.
You know, I pick up Python around more than 10 years ago, and that time when Python 3 was just came out, last time it was called 3000, right?
Yeah, correct.
So, and they're already talking about phasing out 2, but it wasn't until 2.7 and gradually until 3.4 that is more usable.
Yeah.
So then, but it's should be have enough time to move on from 2 to 3. So
Correct.
people,
correct.
To be fair to Python, is the transition period was long enough.
Yeah, it's very long, 10 plus years. So please switch to newer version of Python.
Yeah. And that time I was still using 2.5.
Yes, I remember.
So it is that old.
Yes. So final one is actually GHL investigating a data breach for their payment system. So GHL is actually one of those guys that provide payment terminals and all that. So yeah, it's a pretty big deal.
Unfortunately, I checked the source. Unfortunately, after the news came out, is no longer there.
All right.
So the post was removed.
Okay. So it's happening and all that. It happens. These guys are traditional. These guys are very traditional compared to us. Actually.
No, it's but data leak is something that I wouldn't even wish it's on my enemy.
Yeah, correct.
It's not. I don't know. It's something that scares me as well.
So, and I'm done with DevKami. So let's introduce the self-GUI.
Yeah, it's just a sudden transition.
So I'm Gui. I'm software developer in Penang. So I also run tech community events here in Penang.
Yeah.
So mainly Ruby, JavaScript, Python. Yeah. And
so
also anything?
Go on.
Oh, okay. So I work with a company remotely that's based in US, doing machine learning test automation, and on the side, working with some project with cybersecurity. Yeah.
So if you're in Penang and you happen to visit the more technical tech meetups in Penang, likely it's organized by Gui. So we just want to interview him. So let's see, what should I? So any question for you guys? I can't think of any now. Okay, so our first question is, how long you've been based in Penang?
How long is?
How long you based in Penang, and how's the
okay. I went back. Previously, I worked in KL in 2014, and then I went back to Penang. Should be 2017, and yeah. So since 2017, I've been here, and I start to go basically organizing tech events more frequent to the community here in a monthly basis. So starting with Ruby Meetup. So Ruby Meetup has been running for every month since 2017.
Yeah, and Ruby Meetup didn't stop by COVID-19 as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, well, GUI was running it separately in Penang as a meetup, like so physical meetup. 2017, there was no Corona yet, and so that's why it was Ruby.
I mean, even 2020, there's no stop, not much of a stop on the Ruby side at least.
It was only during 2020, I think, right?
Yeah. So we merge the Ruby and Penang together so that we save more resources and more collaboration in terms of that, because everything is online, right? We don't want people to go to multiple events. People like attention span on events are quite short. And I'm still keeping the Python meetup, trying to keep it alive. Still finding speakers around that. I think Python meetup, although a lot of people practice Python, right? But it's kind of hard to get people out to organize a meetup.
So I have an idea on that. You should merge with Ruby meetup. I'm sure.
Yeah, I already merged the JavaScript. So we'll see. So in terms of JavaScript meetup, we have a React specific meetup group here in Penang. So it's hosted under Facebook Developer Circle. So in terms of resources, Facebook Developer Circle will provide all those in terms of prizes or resources, even technical support if needed. So that's the thing. And I'm also involved with Facebook Developer Circles. I'm one of the lead in Penang. So I think Facebook Developer Circle is different as a separate. I think it's a non-profit organization outside of Facebook.
Okay. Oh,
For
it's
us,
okay.
yeah.
I didn't know about
For
that.
us, we don't advocate Facebook product. Like if you have like Microsoft Meetup or Google Meetup, they will talk about those products, right? For Facebook Developer Circles, we are not allowed to talk about Facebook products.
Yeah. Also, Facebook doesn't have much of a products as well.
Yeah, like the ads stuff, right? The ads
Yeah.
product, we are not allowed to talk about that because anything that's paid, we are not allowed to advocate. So everything should be free and open source. So more of our guidelines more on open source in here. So we have React, and then I think Spark AR is one that we want to push, and some of the Python's utilities that we saw open source from Facebook. So that's one of the effort in terms of Facebook, and also I think PyTorch. So PyTorch is by Facebook, also it's open source. It's the alternative to TensorFlow, but it's Python based. If you want to use on other language, it's a bit different. Let's see any other things. Oh, in Penang we have Docker Captain. So Docker Captain is a representative directly from Docker non-profit. We have one in Penang. He's the captain. So he organized Docker meetups here I think a few times a year, including the birthday. So anything that's coming up from Docker will go through him. And we also have Cloud Native Foundation representative here in Penang also, which is good. Like he's talking about Kubernetes and more on the cloud container stuff. So in terms of tech leads or rep, I think we are a lot here in Penang. So just need more collaboration around, right? Yeah, I think much of those
Yeah. Citron is from Penang.
Yes, Citron also in Penang. So it's actually very near to my place.
Oh, really? Okay. How's I know they have a lot of people on the top. How about the community members? How is like? What kind of demography are you seeing there?
So in community events, we try to get more students. We have a mix of students and people that's in the industry. Most likely we'll get people that's below 30 to be here. Not much senior developers coming out. Mostly we get is like junior or more near to senior, and a lot of those are I would say CTO position or the leadership position will be in the meetup also, because we come to try to know what's happening in terms of tech. And I think for newcomers it's much more less. It's more on the like the same old people that's coming to the meetup, around 10 people maximum.
I
Go up.
think it's the same things that happen even in KL, right?
Yeah.
So
Well,
it's not.
I think people just take for granted that things are online and recorded, and so they don't feel like they have to be there at the same time as everyone else, and they just like watch the recording at 1.5 times speed, right?
Oh,
Yeah, because
senior guys or kids.
well, senior guys like have rheumatism and arthritis, and don't want to
Yeah.
get up.
Yeah,
Carpal
I'm glad I'm just 18.
Yeah.
Mm.
You know how bad it is because carpal tunnel on the hand, very hard to go out and all the typing.
Mm.
like the traffic here is, I won't say convenient, because we need to drive to all the meetup places here, and since the road is very small here, you will get jammed like an hour.
How is it about like comparatively to Klang Valley? Going to let's say I'm working in PJ, I need to attend compared to like working in PJ and attend a meeting in KL.
I would say KL is much more convenient because you won't have to jam, and you
Okay.
take a public transport, you can reach.
Oh, okay.
Here you need to drive, so
Okay.
you will basically cut off the students that doesn't have transportation, like uni, and also people that working in by the bus, the north side of, it's not north, the south side of island, because most of our event at the north side, Georgetown. So if they want to go out of their factory area, that traffic, it's so bad. Like,
Yeah, I can see it Google Map every day.
so it's very discouraging. Like, for those people who made it to the event, I really appreciate their attendance, because they actually come from that area.
How bad is it actually on Google Map is black. It's not even red.
Because everyone in the factory just like go out. You know, la factory, like one person, one car. It's it's just bad. So, and we don't have public transport, like.
Yes.
So it's that's one of the discount where we have less turnout, but we also have weekends events. So each month we only have like 4 weekends, right? So if we cram a lot of events during the weekend, it's also bad. Like, we try to schedule, because some event overlap. We have several organization here, right? So sometimes it overlap. So we don't want that to happen. So we try to like adjust the time. Weekends turnout is quite good because less traffic, and some like Sunday parking is free, because in Penang parking is free. So weekends are good, but people with families might need to consider that also. So priorities, I would say, for
I'm not sure how viable that is. I'm gonna start asking some useless question. So how viable is that? Do you guys ever organize meetup on the beach? Since it's you have the access, right?
I have that shirt. It says "Geeks on the Beach." That would be an interesting thing.
Haven't tried that before, but maybe, because I know some of the tech office is actually near Gurney.
Okay. So, but don't do it now, please.
Not really much beach available right now in Penang, because they repurpose it. Basically, they add more land.
Fill out the thing.
Yeah, the reclamation.
Yeah, so there's not much. Yeah.
Okay, that's too far.
And we need internet, right? So a lot of stuff. Yeah, it's internet. And in terms of demography, so most of the attendees are coming from software consultancy, not like the big one that we know, right? Like Intel, Motorola, those big companies. They are not in. Like we also know that there's Synergy, right? The blockchain company in Penang. So
Yeah. I don't know. We've been doing online meetups anyway.
so we try to get people, reach out to more people, ask them to come. They said okay, they will come. So we just need to be persistent so that they will come, right?
That's the point.
Uh,
And
we,
yeah,
we
and
saw, yeah.
the community is not just for the people who are present there, although it's appreciated because of course it's the questions, the interactions are different. Instead of like just interacting with the recording, and then now you have to like okay answer the questions after the fact.
Because
I would say, yeah.
almost I never heard of people that actually go to approach a speaker offline, because we never ask the speaker to leave contact online offline to ask questions anyway. So it's just something I noticed. Yeah, just a random observation.
Yeah, I would say that people prefer the offline meetup because you get the human touch rather than
Mhm.
reading through.
Yeah. Not now though.
Yeah,
Yes,
definitely. Like so,
it's how to
Touch
take
me.
the virus,
After
free
everybody
virus.
is vaccinated at least.
I think for here, we did a lot of different efforts, like the beginners topic versus like the advanced topic, right?
Yeah.
So we try to get more people because we know that the software uh, levels here are not that high, right? So we try to go more beginner stuff to fit our audience, but it it just not really working. So we try to get more people into like
The
advanced
because of the
topic.
crowd, the kind of crowd is different, or
Yeah,
Yeah,
they are not familiar with that.
correct,
yeah.
correct.
Well, like what kind of crowd is it? Like because if it's a beginner, is it because they they are students and they just graduated and they want to learn more, or are they expatriates from like somewhere in Malaysia that want to learn about technology, or they just wanted to switch technologies, which is why you're doing beginner topics. Which one is
From
it?
what I see, is more on they are already in the industry, just that they are practicing on different language or different stack. They just
Mm,
want to come
mhm,
in and see what is available right now. So sometimes I see like C sharp people that work on C sharp or Java
mhm,
or C++. So they want to know like what's available in JavaScript world or
mhm.
the Python world or Ruby world. And because Ruby and JavaScript are merged together, right? So our attendees are actually very good at JavaScript, zero on Ruby, or very good at Ruby, zero on JavaScript. So it's like sometimes it doesn't gel. Like when they talk about the topic, they don't understand like how, why, yeah.
Mhm.
Maybe
I
it will
see.
work if you get the PHP guys in, because since React is effectively React is effectively PHP.
We do have a lot of PHP developers here though, like WordPress,
So
Elementor.
I can say the crowd is a bit more on the traditional side, like
Yeah,
traditional software house that.
Java, C sharp, those ones.
Mm,
Mhm.
yeah. C Sharp, Visual Basic. I think they do Visual Basic also. VB.
yeah.
Oh my
I
goodness, that is
Unless for
B6
Sean,
or
the JavaScript crowd is crazy big.
yes. JavaScript meetups in Malaysia is essentially our conference. It's the
Yeah.
Malaysian tech
Uh,
conference.
Laravel meetup when it was still running, it's easily can exceed over 100% JavaScript as well. For
Yes,
Ruby, also depending on the topic, also Ruby can easily also reach out quite a lot of people.
correct.
Yeah,
Not
It's only the
recently though.
Python one that,
yeah.
2020 and until now,
Of
yeah,
course not now.
yeah.
unfortunately.
Yeah.
Like if talk about crowd, right? We actually should have a lot of Python here. Like I have Python topic before.
Yeah.
We can't get the crowd.
The like the people who are in Python, right? They're like basically old people, I think.
No, they
don't
don't
know
have
more.
Python people.
Not really.
we gonna
I would,
we gonna I think Tristan gonna flame all the Penang people, try to get them to voice out.
we have a lot of high school students going for Python. Basically, they learn robotics and
Yeah, they had to learn also.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
from school, yes, they have to learn, but before the formalized education, they actually already learn Python. Because there's a lot of, I would say, edu-tech companies here in Penang. That's a lot. Like if you see Penang Science Fair, there's a lot of education for kids in terms of coding.
But I don't know.
I know. This is what I noticed as well. For some reason,
It feels very more like on the commercial side, like.
Yeah, but they are both tight though. I noticed that when I was in Penang,
Let me find out some
EduTech community is a bit more tight for some reason.
Yeah, you need to survive, right? If you want to do this, so they need to charge something. So I would say.
But with the pandemic though, do you think that those edutech companies are actually like doing better? Because now almost every new technology is related to edutech, mostly because a lot of the schools and educational centers have to do it online and have to use technology to do that.
Yep. So they will be one of the earlier, I would say earlier pioneer, because they already done that for many years. They know how to teach students how the way to work. So they will be the one that will get things done better, I would say, compared to the new teachers that just coming into the subjects. So I would say that they are doing quite well. I know some of them are actually teaching how to make games.
Nice.
Teach them creating 2D games, even 3D. I remember I saw one teaching them creating 3D games. And we also have a startup, I think from Johor previously, now it's in Penang. They built their own physics engine. So basically their game editor, they built from scratch just for students to use.
Yeah.
So very interesting.
Is there something similar like a boot camp in Penang where they do these things, or this is just part of the curriculum?
They design some bootcamp, yes. You need to pay to get it, so they don't provide free stuff at all because they know if they provide free stuff, then it's just bad. So you need to pay to get into those programs.
Would you say that Penang is like the Boston in US, where you have your MIT, your like Boston Dynamics, all of these technology companies, or
it's more? I would say it's more vibrant for kids. There's a lot of opportunity for kids here. Like they put a lot of effort in cultivating.
But at least, but as long as the content is good, like what I'm worried is actually that it will be like a tuition center like thing. That like just do it because it's just treated as another thing to pass.
Yeah. Actually, the babysitting one is a bit more worse than the tuition one. You know how many robotics class in KL and what people get out of it, I do not know. So that's why I worry about, because it's easy to do and parents ends up using that as a childcare.
I have no issue with that. It's just that that's
they should get something out of it. Yeah.
We do have a lot of veterans engineers here. So those engineers that retire or they have a lot of capital,
they know their shit.
They want to cultivate the young talents here. So they sponsor a lot. They really put a lot of effort in terms of
if a software developer wants to go to Penang because like they heard that the food is great, like there are beaches, there are like good people that you get to walk all because the traffic is very bad, so you just walk everywhere. So if you like that, you can go. Like, what would be the opportunities there? Like, do you go
Okay.
there and like find a job? Do you find a job first
So
online and go there?
in terms of industry, right, the domain here, the I would say the growing domain is actually machine learning. So
Mm.
we have a company, multinational company called SkyMine. If you heard about it, so SkyMine is
Yeah,
the
that the drop the
creator
group focus
of
on machine vision
deep
and
learning
algorithms.
OJ. So basically, it's a Java library that do deep learning. So
Mhm.
that is a company from Russia. They opened a engineering campus here in Penang. So the Asia, they're responsible for the Asia region. It's in Penang. They hire a lot of machine learning folks here, and they do a lot of machine learning projects. And another one is Vitrox. So if you know Vitrox, is like the image recognition company here in Malaysia. It's quite famous, I would say. They hire a lot of machine learning guys, and they do industrial, basically recognition,
Is it
and a
like
lot
more
of,
defect recognition or product recognition,
yeah.
or
So
it depends on the
for
application?
more on the production line.
Mhm.
So they do a lot of image analysis. They have papers. They do research on that. They put a lot of effort on that. So it's good doing machine learning. And I also know a few doing data crunching here in Penang also. We do
So,
have a lot of multinational company like um, they set up a software house in Penang, but they are overseas company, so they pay using the overseas company capital lah, but you work in Penang.
mhm.
We have one of the blockchain company in Australia, Act Life, is based in Penang. We have one of the, I think it's a chat bot company. It's also based in Penang now. It's from US. Um, so there's a lot of opportunity here in terms of software. I would say first definitely machine learning, because we do have a few here. And Intel is hiring machine learning engineers into their IoT, I think, division.
Mhm.
Um, let's see any other thing. Micron, Micron is hiring data scientists. So data scientist is the upcoming one. There's a lot of demand on data scientists. I think for data scientists, it's mostly data cleaning, right? You need to
Mhm.
process the data. Less
Okay.
about the stuff,
Janitorial.
Less
cleaning.
about the model is making sure the input is proper and correct. Okay.
Yeah,
Janitorial, we call it.
Yes.
those is the heading one, I would say. Uh, let's see any other thing. So we basically skip the whole mobile app stuff, right? So mobile app we have, but not that much. Um, I would say not that much software house
Companies
here.
actually providing, yeah.
Yeah,
Is it
we do
because
have.
the yeah, is it more because the general trend happens to be machine learning and then less on the mobile apps? Because I know mobile apps was the boom like what, five
Yep,
years ago
yep.
or
So we do cater services from offline to online. So all of those are customer requests, like so customer wants mobile app,
Mhm.
then you build for them. If
Yeah.
for companies that really focus on just mobile apps, I don't think so. It's more on the custom made stuff. So there's a lot of custom made software house
Mhm.
in Penang. They do a lot of different things. As long you request, they will make it happen. Um, and it's the software community. There's two regions. So one in the north side, Georgetown, is more on I would say e-commerce, um, web-based, customer-facing software. If you go for by and large, the south side is more industrial B2B. So it will be dealing with hardware. So the serial, basically how to communicate with hardware, all those SDK. I remember they use what is that already? The JavaScript desktop app framework. Forgot that.
Electron.
Yeah, Electron. So they use Electron on their project also.
Not C# and F#. It's not a desktop app. They basically use web technologies for desktop. Is that the case?
They do a mix. So we do have a lot of projects that's Microsoft based, like Jabil is also doing Microsoft stuff a lot, because I think it's the legacy they need to keep on maintaining.
Yeah.
Any other
Sean
things?
says, don't forget to mention PictoChart.
Yes, PictoChart. So they now have the 4-day working time per week.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
10 hours, I guess, right? For 40 hours per week.
I don't think so. They not 40 hours. So a week is 40 hours. What they mean by 4 days working is actually Friday. It fully depends on them. It's a quiet day, means they can do whatever they want. There's no meeting, no nothing. Basically, the management let you be. It's still a working day, but you can do whatever you want. You can learn stuff.
The
Go
20%.
anytime. Yeah. Basically, just one day for you to.
I'm gonna share
learn
something to But's Sean's this is the what okay.
Oh.
This was the JavaScript meetup. I cannot find all the pictures like you
Oh, I think I know that person.
Ivan. So this is the crowd. And also this is the JavaScript meetup. This is the DevOps meetup. It's not small as well. So this is like the regular size, but it's still happening. Yeah. Then this is GUI. And the Ruby meetup is not small as well. So so this is in Faith back then. So that's it. I cannot find a picture of the Laracon, but it's crazy. It's crazily big. Yeah, but then
but that
around,
was like all last year. Again, we'll see.
Before
We'll see
that.
if we can get things back, or what new technology meetups will happen after the pandemic. We'll see.
Yeah, I think most likely JavaScript will be back on their feet, because everyone is doing JavaScript. Streaming, I think your mic mute.
Streaming, you're muted.
Colors, it's not that long. Those were the days that long. It's just 2
No,
years.
those are the days. Those were the days where the old the last generation they go out and eat outdoor, like there's no like nothing happened.
Yeah.
It's called BC. It's called year.
Where data rate was literally data rate outdoor,
You're more
exposed
likely
to the
to die
elements.
from diabetes than viruses.
Actually, we will be surprised, like because of COVID, a lot of people are coming back to Malaysia. They expand out, but now they are coming back to Malaysia. I've been like called by some founder. Basically, he already expanded to Thailand, and to ASEAN, but now he's back to Penang. He want to cultivate back his team in Penang and KL.
Nice.
So
Why is that?
He started his company in Penang actually, and slowly expand out, and then eventually the Penang, not much people left here, so he's trying to get it back and try to hire more people in terms of DevOps. So sysadmin, server stuff. I would say that a lot of those big companies that doing really well, they are coming back to Malaysia because of COVID, right? In terms of national.
What does COVID have to do with them coming back? Like what is causing, like what in COVID is causing them to come back?
I think in terms of nationality and like family reason, you are coming back to your hometown. So when they come back to their own hometown, the place where they started all of this their business, they feel that they want to contribute back and build their
So
team.
it's basically a sense of impending doom that things are going to end. Might as well spend it with your loved ones. Is that it? You think?
You
Not
go home
really.
you get home to roost.
Yeah, I would say you get home to your place where you started.
Yeah.
So
So they realized their mortality and decided, yep, I'd rather.
Memento mori.
I would say that they feel that they accomplish a lot, but they want to give back from where they actually started all this. So a lot of company actually started from Penang. They went out, right, expand out. Now some of them already come back to build teams here in Penang. So I would say it's good, and some business are doing good. I think in terms of like entertainment and multimedia, have you heard about Foodie?
I don't know. I guess it has something to do with
I'm from the
food. But
cave, so you have to brief me on
So,
things.
so it's a startup, and it's started in Penang. So now they already expand to most of the Asian country, and they are hiring
Nice.
a lot. They get a lot of funding.
is
When
this
you
like
heard,
yeah,
they
sorry.
do videography on food. So basically, they go to food stalls, food eateries, to do reviews. And when you first heard about this, right, you wonder like revenue and how you make money and all those stuff, right? Because it's just like a food review
You can do a
website.
blog on food reviews.
Yeah. So they eventually get very good at it, a lot of videography and designs, and they able to expand a lot, which is like very good. For like Malaysia, we do love food. Like if you have a startup focusing just food, and it's very successful, it's good, right?
So Yimeng,
Yeah.
you're
And you think why I spend time doing the machine learning thing on Gui, right?
Yeah, I would say that there's a lot of potential all around place. Like I've been invited to DevC KL. They have the creator of Malaya, the Malaya library.
Yeah, Hussein.
Yeah, Hussein, very talented guy.
I need to get him back to DevKami one day and have him to do some demo.
Let's judge swimming's work.
And they have also one creator, the game studio creator. He started since high school. He built his own game studio, so it's very impressive. Also, like we don't really get in touch with those kind of circle in our normal usual workflow, right? So when
this is I think in the Ruby meetup someone also mentioned about the piano. So from I don't know who was that, but yeah, thank you. It's a good piano background.
But so we only have more things, more opportunity for us nowadays, especially after COVID, as long as we can meeting and all that. So
So I would say, yeah, community events where you have the chance to overlap with different industry people. Basically, you won't have that chance if you just stick to your work, right? You go to community events, you overlap with very different people from very different cycle. Basically,
it's
the
to
network is
it's
different.
it's actually to burst your bubble, and also to be to when you expose with people, you be less likely to judge others, and also you eliminate some of the biases lah as well.
Yeah. Take advantage of your natural pattern processing as a human being, because we're great at pattern recognition. And the more inputs you have, the more patterns you get to recognize. So this applies to this as well. Even as completely different fields, the same patterns apply. So it's a good way to expand your horizons, to expand your skill set, expand your experience.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we're almost reaching the end now. So you're looking forward for the next big event?
Which one?
I don't know. Actually meeting people.
That should be I don't want to meet you guys after we get vaccinated. Sorry. Bye. But
I might be so bored. I might go Penang just because. I might go Penang just for one day. Just because.
Can you ask to be relocated, Suimeng? Can you ask to be relocated to Penang?
I didn't even have the job yet, but if
I think I think if he get a remote job, then it doesn't matter where he moved to, right?
Correct.
yeah,
Yes.
So
Yeah, that
let's
would
see.
be cool.
But if I had to relocate, I had to relocate with my dog. So that's that.
Yeah. So
You'll find it.
are dogs okay in Penang, Gui?
Not condo, but landed property, no problem.
Yeah, but what's the rent for landed property?
Yeah, precisely. Right?
Depends
So
on
you
the
have to
region.
reclaim land, right?
And also we need to realize that swimming doesn't drive.
Yeah,
So you have to live in the metro region, the central
Yes.
region, so to be able to access. So, but I think most of the city center are condominiums, right?
If you
Yes.
go to island, yes, I would say yes, definitely. If you are not on the island, you have more choices.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
but
Here's a random question for you. Have you walked the bridge?
I
Just
do
walk.
a marathon before,
Okay,
Oh,
so I
nice.
actually run on that bridge before.
Which bridge?
Mhm.
The first one or second one?
The first one.
Oh, then you have to run the second one.
The second, I don't think they allow people to go on it at all.
I don't know about that. You have to tell me that.
Yeah. I went to the Penang meetup before. It's hosted by.
Also,
it's a-
swimming at a certain era stays in Penang, or right
Yeah. Yes.
for a while, short while, right?
Yeah. Yes. I kind of miss Penang.
is that where you went to the meetup, Suimeng?
Yeah. That's even one of my last day there. So I might go Penang. Unfortunately, I won't able to take the ferry, which I actually missed. Very interesting time as well.
Yep.
So no
Very
ferry had COVID over.
Mhm.
So
You know, that's a good event. You know, there were like geeks on a plane. Now you have geeks on a ferry
Yeah,
And
it's
it's
no
just,
longer there. It's no longer
while
there.
riding on the Penang ferry.
yeah.
Riding on the imaginary Penang ferry. I can give you a tour for that right now. Imagine you're in a you. I'm not sure if for those that never been on the ferry, the ferry is actually a bit scary because often it's a bit not straight.
Yes. It's very old. The ferry is actually
it's
very old.
it's actually slanted when it's running.
Yes.
So if you're on that on the first time, it's really scary. And I because I'm from the north, so I visited Penang quite a lot. So it was something that my parents really afraid I'm gonna ask, like why the why the ship look like it's gonna capsize.
Yes.
They should
When I
just
was
explain to you because the Earth is round. You're just feeling the
It's not
curvature of
round.
the Earth.
The Earth is not round.
It's,
They're gonna slap me like, oh, the Earth is a spheroid. Sorry.
Yeah.
We do have a lot of expats here in Penang because they like the environment, the convenience of the plane. So you can fly anywhere directly from Penang. And
Bruno used to be in Penang as well.
yeah, the living cost is very cheap. So sometimes they say, okay, if it's living in Japan, it's the same as taking a taxi to somewhere versus flying from Penang. They rather live in Penang because they just fly out.
Got it. It's cheap.
It's easy to come back.
Comparatively cheap.
Yeah. So it's quite a lot of expat here, based here, I would say.
Do you have like final messages for everyone before we say goodnight?
I would say that in terms of community events, if anyone who wants to help our community do be part of the co-organizer rather than just participate, you should step up
Yeah.
and be a co-organizer, because things need to move on. Like, we need to get more people involved, so
we
won't
need to
end
get
that
the
way.
we need to get the next sucker in to take over. Sorry.
Yes.
Yeah,
I don't want to run. I don't want to run PyCon. I don't want to run PyCon and the Python
Yeah,
meetup
yeah.
anymore.
You
All I
actually
want to do
learn.
is to build gun
You actually know more people and learn faster that way by
Yes.
actively
Yes.
yeah,
participating.
and I really encourage students to take up, because
Yes.
you will basically meet a lot of people, and
And they are naive.
very valuable.
Yeah.
And you have
And
a
you
lot of
get
time.
to you get to learn a lot of management skills that you will eventually be using in your
Yeah.
work. So it's like a great way, like a great training ground, because there's not a lot of cost to failure. Like, you don't
Yeah.
lose a job if you
You don't have
like
to.
fail.
You have
fail
don't have to
some-
join a job to be able to
Mhm.
experience it. At least
Yes.
on the
Yeah.
at least on the way of thinking, on way to do things.
Correct. And you meet a lot of your future bosses.
Yeah.
So you'll
Actually,
be
not
working.
true for me, but yes.
You'll be
I know
working with them interns.
Yeah.
we
I mean, there's
the joke is that
student
we
run
often cycle our jobs within ourselves, right?
Yes, correct. So the student run meetups, but they always run their own meetups instead of joining a new one. I mean, existing one. So they either join the company one, or it's
Yeah.
rare for students to do the language one. So that's
So
the
basically, all the meetups are like inbred. They just have the
Yeah.
ideas inbred with each other. They don't get anything new from outside.
Yes.
Like actual industry experience, for example, like what is happening in industry.
I
So
mean,
they don't get
I
that.
would love students to start pick up things like the Python meetup, because I just want to make Gundam. I don't really want to. I don't want to run meetups anymore.
Stop. The advice I'm gonna have is stop tracing the trend.
Yeah.
It's be good at something, and you won't be missing most of them.
Correct. And don't do it on Clubhouse yet, because I don't have an iDevice with me. I think no, I'm insane.
Student run meetup. Oh yeah, there's a Subway student meetup. It's good. I would say it's one of the good ones. The Subway Student Club. It's quite good.
Where the outside people can join. That's the normally that is good.
So I
All
think
right.
if that's all, then we can.
Yeah. So thank you, Gui, for being here, and also
Yes.
keep being awesome at running the meetups
Yes.
consistently.
Thank you.
I hope somebody will take over you,
So,
because yeah.
In case
Yeah,
Tristan
well,
feel left out, also like Tristan also run Ruby.
Not anymore.
So not
I've already
not,
passed it on.
not me. Like I only ran 2 meetups last year.
Yeah, my last meetup is like 2 years back, and that's a funeral. That's a funeral for Python.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gui was there, right? Were you there?
No.
Yeah, the cake.
No.
I think you.
Oh yeah.
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 Were you there?
No, I didn't go because there's a clash with other event. I remember that time.
We actually have cakes.
I remember you were in. I was Law Tech, right? Something like that. It was.
Yeah, it should be other event. I remember there's other events around.
I remember you were in town, but you were elsewhere.
Mm-hmm.
So okay, I think that's about it. Thank you,
Thank you.
Gui, for being here. So he's
For
your
the
Penang
next-
guy.
Yeah.
He's also the ambassador for anything. Find him out.
Yeah. And so, what next for next time? I don't have any plan for next week. I try to dig up some old people, see whether they are free for interview. We will probably do some microcontroller show, because we actually don't have a dedicated show beside. We have occasionally talk about microcontrollers.
The
but we
part
don't
of
have
the part of the motto is that we shouldn't have organized shows.
Yeah.
And if,
So we will do
if
something.
you're if you're bored between now and next week, you can read Swimming's writing on the DevKami blog, so
Yeah.
he's been like regularly posting things there. It's
I
good
think
reads.
I think Swimming should write a poem every week as well.
I am bored. I am
Yeah,
bored.
or some rhymes. They're the same, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So make sure like, subscribe. Apparently it helps the algorithm. We should run a poll because apparently that's how you hack YouTube, to make sure that other people see your content.
Also,
And,
poll on. You can make a poll on YouTube as well.
Yes.
I guess that's it for this week.
Yep.
Yep.
Bye.